Hello, this is Alan Franciscus from the HCV Advocate, and I'm bringing you an HCV Advocate video update. And on this video update, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 stories of 2010. Now, these are the stories that we have all compiled here at the Advocate, and we believe are the most important stories. And the only one that's actually ranked is the number one story. All of the other stories are in random order. And I'm going to tell you how you can actually vote and let us know what you think are the most important stories of 2010. But let's get going. What we thought was the number one story for 2010 was the completion of the phase 3 studies of telaprevir and boceprevir. And just to remind you that these are HCV protease inhibitors, and they're combined with pegylated interferon and ribavirin. And what we've seen through the studies, at least top line information, is that we have a greatly increased cure rate, and for some people that achieve a rapid virologic response, there is a shorter treatment duration. In addition to that, we're seeing much higher cure rates in populations that typically do not do well on standard of care, which is pegylated interferon and ribavirin, and that includes African Americans, Hispanics, and people with compensated cirrhosis. Now, it's also important to note that Vertex has actually submitted their data to the Food and Drug Administration for marketing approval, and that approval is expected around mid-year, this year actually, mid-2011. Now again, just to remind you that the other stories are in no particular order, but one of the most interesting and important studies that came out was combinations of direct-acting antivirals, or DAAs. And these are comprised of HCV polymerase, HCV protease, and NS5A inhibitors. And in the early studies, they've been combined with and without pegylated interferon and ribavirin. And some of these combinations look really good, but just a word of warning that these are in very early development, and it's not expected that there's going to be a interferon and ribavirin free regime probably for another 5 to 10 years. But keep your eyes on these. This is something that we're all hoping we can do, or the scientific world can do, is to eliminate those two drugs from the hepatitis C treatment cocktail. Now, one of the components of DAAs is an HCV NS5A, and that's an enzyme that is involved in the replication process of hepatitis C. Now, they don't really know what that role is, but they've actually been able to develop inhibitors, and in early studies they found that people that took those inhibitors had a very good decrease in HCV RNA, or viral load. The other good news on that is that it looks like they're going to be effective against most, if not all, HCV genotypes. Now, a very interesting story came out later part of the year from Avila Therapeutics, and they actually have discovered the first covalent HCV protease inhibitor. And it's believed that this type of protease inhibitor will permanently inhibit the hepatitis C virus. So that is very interesting, and if it pans out, that would be fantastic news. But of course, now the next steps for this drug are to try it out in healthy volunteers and also in people with hepatitis C to make sure that it is safe and effective. Now, you've probably heard for the last couple of years about a certain gene called IL-28B, and what they found is that if there is a certain variation of that gene called, get ready, CC genotype, and this is going to confuse people because we already know that there are numbered genotypes, but it's very different. And the CC genotype in people that were treated, or people with genotype 1 were treated and had that CC genotype, they were more than twice as likely to respond to therapy. And this is going to be a really powerful tool that we're going to have at our disposal to guide the whole treatment decision process. It's not really clear what this will mean when we have the new direct-acting antivirals, but since pegylated interferon and ribavirin are going to be part of that mix for at least 5 more years, it's going to be of some import. So keep your eyes open for that. Now, it seems like I've been talking about OraQuick HCV rapid antibody test for the last 3 years, and it's been held up, but last year the whole blood draw was approved, and this was approved by the FDA to use in clinics. And what we're hoping is that this year in 2011 is that the finger prick and the oral swab will be approved. And this will greatly increase the way that we can actually test people for hepatitis C, and hopefully we can get that 75% of people with hepatitis C that have it but aren't aware of it, so we can test them and get them into medical management. Again, look for that probably sometime part of the mid-year 2011. Now, we all know, or we all experience brain fog in one form or the other, and in the past we've heard about the hepatitis C virus can pass the blood-brain barrier, and in some small imaging studies they've actually found that there's some inflammation going on in the brain as a result of the hepatitis C virus. But a major finding this year, or I'm sorry, a major finding in 2010 found that the hepatitis C virus damages certain neurons, and it also inhibits the removal of certain types of debris or toxins from the brain. So hopefully this will lead to a couple of things. One, medications to prevent this, and two, I'd love to see a study where if people are cured of hepatitis C, that these processes that are currently inhibited are fixed or are better. So hopefully we'll see something going on with that shortly. Now, it seems like a no-brainer that hepatitis C treatment improves survival. However, up until last year, we didn't have any really good data to show this. And this is really important because you want to see that survival, improved survival, it helps with insurance issues and it helps with government funding. So again, this year we had 2 studies that came out that showed that the first one that came out from Scripps Institute found that achieving a cure or going HCV RNA or viral load negative during treatment improves survival. Now, that was just the part about going HCV RNA negative during treatment improve survival is a new finding and very powerful. I think that it helps people realize that even if they were on treatment, as long as they went negative, it improved their overall liver health or to some extent. So that's really good news. Now, a couple of years ago, the HALT-C study came out, and the HALT-C study was the low-dose Pegasus for treatment of hepatitis C, but it was hoped that it would forestall progression of liver disease. And when that report was released, they actually did not find that it benefited survival of people that had that low-dose pegylated interferon. But now that we're a little farther out, a couple more years, they're actually finding that there is some benefit and improved survival in people that were given that low-dose Pegasus, and especially those people that were actually given it for at least 2 years. So this is really good news for all of us. Now, what about fat cells and hepatitis C? We've known for quite a while that fat cells are involved in the virus, so the virus uses those fat cells. But this year they really nailed down what that process is, and a key enzyme called DGAT1 that effectively shut down that replication process. So theoretically, we can actually study this, come up with those enzymes to treat people with hepatitis C, and that could potentially lead to a treatment for hepatitis C. The good news on that is that these inhibitors have already been developed and they're being used for other conditions, so it's just a matter now of starting up clinical trials to test it on people with hepatitis C to see if it does in fact work. We've also been talking about, it seems like for years, about the success or the lack of success in growing hepatitis C in a test tube. Well, this year, scientists at the MIT and the Rockefeller University were able to grow a strain of the hepatitis C in a liver cell. And this is really important because this will help us understand what kills the hepatitis C virus and what doesn't, and hopefully lead to more discoveries and more medications to treat hepatitis C. So again, really good news. The only thing that I think they're looking for now is to see if that strain can be duplicated with other strains in liver cells. So keep your eyes open for that. Now that's our list of our top 10, again in no particular order except for the #1 story. We'd love actually to have you vote on what you think is the most important HCV related story of 2010. And if you click on the link there to take a survey, you can go in and take a very, very short survey, take you a couple of minutes, and that will help us all understand, I think, what is what our audience, and that's our most important group of people that we provide services to, what you think is the most important story of 2010. We hope to be using the Survey Monkey more as a way to communicate with our website audience and ask, what issues that you want to hear more about, what do you want us to report on more, what information or educational brochures would help you out. So keep your eyes open for that. We hope to send something out probably within the next month. Okay, thanks a lot from everybody at the HCV Advocate and the Hepatitis C Support Project. We want to wish you a happy and healthy 2011.